Activity-based costing, or ABC as it is often abbreviated to, is a method of dealing with the overheads of a business. Now remember, overheads of the business are often referred to as indirect costs. So if we're talking about a manufacturing business, your indirect costs would be those that aren't things like your direct materials or your direct labour. So things that can't be specifically related to a product which has been produced. So your typical examples of this would be things like your factory rent, rates, supervisors' salaries, but also costs to do with things like procuring the materials, maybe things to do with setting up the equipment, and so on and so forth. So they are indirect costs which can't be directly related to products being produced. Now, ABC as an approach was initially put forward by the Consortium for Advanced Management International and then has been developed by some notorious academics. And this was around about the 1970s, 1980s when it was first put forward. Now, it has had widespread use. However, what some organisations have found is even though there are theoretical benefits to ABC, it's also a much more complex process as well, which can bring with it some problems. However, what ABC absolutely does do is it overcomes the limitations of some of the more traditional approaches to dealing with overheads, such as absorption costing, which you will have seen in your previous studies. Now, if we were to define ABC, first of all, what we would say is it is a more complex approach than absorption costing. As we're going to see, it's a much more detailed look at the manufacturing part of the business, if we're talking about a manufacturing organisation. And rather than thinking about things on a departmental level, which we often do with absorption costing, it's a much more detailed approach of breaking a business down into its different activities. Now, it's defined by CIMA as an approach to the costing and monitoring of activities which involves tracing resource consumption, so basically using resources, spending money, and costing final outputs. So once again, the classical scenario we'd see here is trying to work out the cost of producing our products. Now, when we're working out the cost of producing our products, or indeed if we're a service organisation of providing our service, the direct costs are always very, very easy to estimate, but the overhead costs are much more problematic. So it goes on to say resources are assigned to activities and activities to cost objects. Remember, cost objects is just something we're trying to work out the cost of. For example, a product or maybe a service being provided. Then goes on to say the latter use cost drivers to attach activity costs to outputs. Now, what we've got here within this definition from CIMA are a couple of key terms that you'll come across time and time again when looking at the subject of activity-based costing. So the fact that we have activities. Okay, so the idea is actually to produce a product or provide a service, there's a chain of activities which will take place for that to happen. And ABC is going to break the business down into these different activities. But you also see the term there, cost drivers. Now, a cost driver is a reason why in a particular part of the business, we essentially consume resources and therefore spend some money. So it's a reason why we're spending money. So we're trying to identify for each activity what it is that forces us to consume resources and therefore spend money as an organisation. As we said, when it comes to activity-based costing, it is a more complex process than something such as absorption costing. However, that complexity brings with it hopefully much more accuracy. Now, it depends on the business or organisation under consideration, but in certain conditions, activity-based costing will absolutely provide much more accurate information when it comes to various elements of the business. And in particular, one of the key reasons we're using it is to work out the cost of what we provide. Now, obviously, there are massive benefits to having a much more accurate cost to what we provide. For example, if we're a business, we can set a more accurate price. But also, as well as we will see, activity-based costing also gives us a lot of information to help us hopefully long-term manage and control our costs as well. In terms of the rationale for ABC, now it's an approach which was traditionally designed for manufacturing businesses but can be used in other organisations. But if we consider manufacturing businesses and how they've changed, the modern manufacturing environment is much different compared to the traditional manufacturing environment. So let's have a look at a couple of the key reasons why that is the case. So first of all, in a modern manufacturing environment, what we would say is overheads tend to be a much bigger proportion of production costs. In your traditional manufacturing environments, actually, the largest proportion of costs tended to be your direct costs. So if you're producing a product like Ford producing motor vehicles or something like that, actually the biggest cost they incurred in terms of production were things such as the direct materials, so the actual tangible material items that went into the motor vehicles being produced. And then because they didn't have complex production lines with all this fancy machinery that we see these days, they actually had loads of direct labour. So the workers working there on the production line actually piecing together the different parts of the vehicle. The vast majority of costs in them sort of traditional factories were direct costs. So overheads, while they still existed, were a relatively small proportion of what production costs were. And so therefore the need to have this approach, such as ABC, which has a real deep dive on the overheads, it just simply wasn't the case. It wasn't required to have this real detailed analysis of overheads because relative to the direct costs, they were quite inconsequential. Now, one of the traditional assumptions with traditional absorption costing was that overheads, by and large, tend to be fixed. And when we talk about our traditional overhead costs, we'll always talk about things like factory rent, business rates. If we have some supervisors, they might pay the salary and so on and so forth. However, once again, it's the case that in a modern manufacturing environment, the production process is so complex. We've got loads of overheads, but not all of them are fixed, certainly not over the medium to long term. So actually, if we have overheads that behave in different ways, we need to understand that behavior so we can hopefully work out an accurate cost, but also long term, if we understand that certain overheads are influenced by certain things, it gives us the ability to hopefully control our costs in these areas as well. So this assumption that most production overheads are fixed simply doesn't pan out in the modern manufacturing environment. Now, one of the limitations of absorption costing tended to be that if a product, so say for example we produce a number of product lines, but a particular product line was produced in larger volumes, they often took a greater share of the overhead burden. So it's that assumption, actually we're producing more of this, it's placing a bigger demand on the business. Now again, that was probably the case when you had traditional manufacturing businesses just making a small range of products and maybe had a primary product which they were producing in massive volumes, which really placed a huge burden on the business in terms of production resources, and therefore it was fair that it took a greater share of the overhead burden. However, in your modern manufacturing environments, actually you have such diverse product ranges, which we'll talk about in more detail shortly, but they all place very different demands on the business. If you think about your modern manufacturers, take an electronics organisation like Apple, just think about all the different products they produce, all the way from a tiny MP3 player up to a really complex sort of personal computer. Now, it just simply isn't the case that if something's produced in a larger volume, it necessarily places bigger demands on the business in every single area of the production process. Okay, in some cases, that would not be the case. Traditional absorption costing just cannot deal with that complexity, whereas activity-based costing does a much better job of this. And as I've just alluded to, you have in the modern sort of manufacturing arena, businesses that have a very diverse range of products. Gone are the days when you had Ford Motor Vehicles producing one particular car and Henry Ford said they can have any car they want in any colour as long as it's the T model and it's in black. Now, what you have with modern manufacturing businesses these days is they have a huge product range and therefore massive complexities in terms of production processes for these different products within that range. And again, we therefore have that situation where different products place very different demands on the business. So some might require a huge number of parts, so place a massive burden on the business in terms of supplier ordering. However, maybe they're then actually produced in huge batches. So actually when it comes to things like equipment setups and material movements, they're less of a burden. So because we have these diverse product ranges, placing very different demands on the business, again, activity-based costing with its more complex approach is going to help us reflect that when we work out the overhead costs for these products. In terms of the mechanics for activity-based costing, what we've got on screen is a relatively simple diagram. If we're going to draw an actual diagram for a real organisation, we'd need more than one PowerPoint slide. So what the business would have to do here if they were using an activity-based costing approach is, first of all, they need to estimate what the overhead costs of the business are going to be. Now, in general, although we can extend this, in general, what you tend to see is they do this for the production side of the business if they're a manufacturing organisation. But ABC can be used in non-manufacturing environments as well. But we'll stick with that for the purposes of this example. And so what the business would do is it'd estimate what its overhead costs for the period are going to be within its factory. And then it'd have to break the business down into the almost sequence of events, the different activities that would have to take place in order for us to produce our products. So you see here on screen, we've got 3 different activities, but the reality is in the real world for an actual business, there could be anywhere between 50 and 100 different activities that would have to take place for products to be produced. Now, to use some simple examples, activity 1 might be, right, okay, well, if we're going to produce some products, the first thing we've got to do is we've got to buy some materials. So activity 1 could be related to supplier ordering. Now, what we'd have to do there is identify a cost driver for activity 1. Remember what a cost driver is? A cost driver is the reason why we consume resources, why we spend money on a particular area of our business. And so a nice simple one for activity 1, which remember is supplier ordering, might be actually just the number of supplier orders. Because actually every time we have to place an order, well, we have a procurement team who'll be responsible for that. We're using resources, we're contacting the supplier by whatever means we use, and therefore that could be our cost driver. So activity 1, supplier ordering, cost driver 1, the number of supplier orders. Now, if we can estimate what the overhead is and estimate how many supplier orders we'll place in the period, we can then work out a cost per order. And then we can use that to charge overheads across our different product lines. Now, activity 2, if we leap forward in the production process, might be something along the lines of maybe setting up our equipment. We might say, right, well, every time we're going to produce a batch of products, we need to get the production machinery ready to produce that batch of products. So activity 2 might be production setups. And again, sounds a little bit boring, but it may well be the case that the appropriate cost driver for that is simply something like the number of setups. Now, if that was the case, we might have to work out things like, right, okay, well, if we're going to make a batch of products, how many different bits of equipment do we need to set up to make that batch of products? And then once again, we'd be in that situation where we could say, right, here's the expected overhead cost related to that particular activity. Here's the cost driver, and we can work out a cost driver rate. The final activity might be something along the lines of, I don't know, product inspections, for example. And so it might be a case we say, right, activity 3 is when we inspect our products to make sure they adhere to our quality standards. And the cost driver there might be the number of product inspections. And so we might have a sort of policy within the business where we decide we are going to test 5% of the products produced. So we can work out what we think the inspection costs are going to be, how many inspections are going to take place, and then we can work out a cost per inspection. And so essentially what we can do is we can use all of that information to charge our overheads, if we're talking about a manufacturing business, to the product's been produced. But again, it can be used in non-manufacturing environments. So we might actually be talking about maybe looking at customers or something similar to that. So to summarize, overheads are allocated to activities. Then we identify cost drivers. So for each activity, a cost driver is identified. We work out our cost driver rates. So it might be a cost per supplier order, maybe a cost per product inspection. And then we use them cost driver rates to charge the cost of these different activities to our cost objects. So remember, a cost object is something that's been costed. So an example we've been talking about, that would be a product. But if we're looking at maybe a customer and what we have to do is look after a customer, then the cost object could be a customer.